and stressed he'll coordinate with Trudeau to protect jobs in both countries. The leaders were questioned about their different views on accepting Syrian refugees. Trudeau said Canada continues to pursue its policy of openness towards refugees, while Trump said, quote, "We cannot let the wrong people in." There is a sizable community of Canadian expats in Washington and in the communities just outside D.C. One of those Canadians is David Chauvet. He works for a Montreal-based software company and joins me now from our bureau in Washington. So, David, what did you make of the press conference between the two leaders?
I mean, it was very interesting. I think unfortunately, it was kind of what I expected to see, which was a lot of generic terms. Obviously, it's their first meeting. President Trump's been in office for roughly a month, so I didn't expect a lot of clarity and a lot of details on certain issues. I wish they would have provided a bit more, but it was very generic in my opinion.
So you've been living in Washington for a little over a year now. What are you concerned about when it comes to the relationship between the two countries?
Well, on a personal level, it's obviously linked to NAFTA, the future of NAFTA, and/or future trade agreements. Visas. I'm on a professional visa. I'm not on a TN visa, but there are a lot of expats that are here on TN visas that are directly linked to NAFTA. That's a big concern for a lot of people I talk to. But what's the renewal process going to be like for us Canadians living down here over the next few years? Are there going to be more restrictions? And obviously on a human level, a lot of concerns around Canadian citizens, even Canadian-born Canadian citizens that are having issues crossing the border based on their roots or the color of their skin, and that's very concerning.
Now, the president, he mentioned that there would be a tweak to NAFTA in terms of its relationship with Canada. Did that ease your worries a little bit, or what did you think of that?
I think, on a positive note, I think President Trump showed that there's a difference between his views of NAFTA when it comes to U.S. and Mexico and his views of NAFTA when it comes to U.S. and Canada, which is a positive thing. That was good to hear and good to see. However, again, he didn't offer any real details. A journalist, and I don't remember the name unfortunately, but a journalist asked specifically about the future of NAFTA and immigration and kind of open borders, and the answer was mostly around Mexican drug lords being deported from the U.S. So again, it didn't really address the issues at hand. I'm hoping that in the next few months, President Trump's administration will offer a bit more guidance on their plans. But I hope that Prime Minister Trudeau takes that concern very seriously.
And what about Prime Minister Trudeau? What did you think of how he handled himself in that news conference?
Again, I think he did a good job, but again, in a generic way. And as expected, but their first meeting, their first encounter, so a lot about the history between the two countries and the importance of Prime Minister Trudeau did specifically talk about the importance of open borders, which again is something that I enjoyed hearing. I hope that in their private conversations they are very focused on the details and the future of either NAFTA or a replacement for NAFTA. That's fine, but I hope that there's a plan in place, and I sure hope that Prime Minister Trudeau puts his foot down when it comes to the future of a trade agreement between our two countries.
David, good to speak with you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
And that was Canadian David Chauvet. He works in Washington for a Montreal-based software company. Before their meeting today, the Prime Minister gave